The meeting of the Darien City Council, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the roll.
Sullivan,
Here?
Stompanato,
Here.
Shower,
Here.
Legansky,
Here.
Kenny,
Here.
Gustafson,
Here.
Belzak,
Here.
7 present.
We have a quorum. That takes us to questions, comments, and announcements of a general nature. This is on our agenda to allow anybody in the audience to present something that's non-agenda related to the city council. At this time, does anybody want to present anything to the city council? If not, we move to approval of the minutes. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the December 15, 2025 city council. Moved by Alderman Kenny, seconded by Alderman Belzak. Any questions or comments? If not, the roll.
Kenny,
Aye.
Belzak,
Aye.
Stompanato,
Aye.
Legansky,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Gustafson,
Aye.
Shower,
Aye.
7 ayes.
The minutes have been approved. Receiving communications. Do any of the aldermen have communications they would like to share? Mary?
Thank you, Mayor. I've been receiving several communications from residents in the Waterfall Glen community on the south side of Frontage Road in Darien. There's condominium buildings along with townhomes, expressing continued concern about traffic along South Frontage Road, most especially the intersection at Cassie Avenue and South Frontage Road. So back in 2024, the DuPage County Department of Transportation conducted a Cass Avenue corridor feasibility study, and that's been out there. It's like this thick, but not much has happened with it. Clearly, they're needing cooperation from the Illinois Department of Transportation. But I did reach out to our district reps, Lucy Evans and Carrie Galassi, and they connected me with the director of DuPage Department of Transportation, Steve Travia, and we're gonna have a conference call this week. And Mayor Marquez and Director Gombeck and even the police department have been engaged in this because there's some traffic accident data and just the historical aspect of this roadway, just to circle back to the study and what might be able to be done, what does the future hold, what do we need to do as a community to support our residents and perhaps engage IDOT. We've been successful in the past, but, that's always like rolling the dice. But I just wanted to, assure the residents in that area that we're pursuing this. We've heard them, and we'll be hopefully reporting back soon.
Okay. Anyone else? Alderman Kenny?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I received communication that I forwarded over to you and Brian over the weekend. Former auxiliary police officer Dwayne Kozak wanted to make mention about the ordinance that at last budget, we disbanded that auxiliary, but it was on the city councils, or it's on our ordinances. So he's saying if you're not gonna budget it in, and you've got it on your ordinance, on the books, then you probably should get that off the ordinances too. So I got an email back from you, Brian, said you were gonna look into it.
Yeah, I passed it on to Chief to talk to John. I know,
We have a meeting tomorrow at,
I'm sorry?
John and I have a meeting at 1:00
Okay.
tomorrow.
Anyone else? I have a communication that's more or less a feel-good story. About a week ago Friday, I was here, it was about 5:45. I was here late that Friday. And I noticed I had the red light on my phone. And I picked it up and listened to a voicemail. And it was from a woman who was 82 years old, who the windstorm that we had that week knocked down part of her fence. And her fence was blocking the sidewalk close to Plainfield Road. And she said, my husband is 92 years old and he can't lift that fence and bring it into our backyard till we could have it fixed. Now I'm sitting there and it's 5:45 on Friday afternoon. City Hall is empty. No one is here. I called my wife. I said, Kath, can you give me Chris Throm's telephone number? So she did. She has it. I don't have it. The mayor doesn't have it, but my wife does. So I called Christopher, and Christopher said, Mr. Mayor, I'll get somebody out there right away to pick up that fence and to put it in her backyard. So I called her back, and I said, Mrs. So-and-so, I said, I contacted our Public Works Department. They're gonna come out there, they're gonna move that. And she goes, oh, I'm very sorry. She says, you called, after I called you, I called the Darien Police Department. She said, and I had a very nice officer for the Darien Police Department who came out, and he moved that fence for me. And she said, but I have to tell you something. She said, everyone I called responded to my phone call. She said, the police department, she said, Darien really is wonderful. She said, my husband never would have been able to move that fence if it wasn't for that police officer coming out. So I called Christopher back, and I said, Christopher, tell him to get back into his comfortable clothes and tell him to stay home. He doesn't have to go move the fence. But the fact of the matter is, on a Friday evening, at 5:45, I had a Darien police officer and a public works employee who were willing to go out and move a fence for an 82-year-old woman whose husband wouldn't have been able to do it. That really speaks to our wonderful police department and our wonderful public works department. So kudos to you guys.
That's public works training, cross-training.
That's how you get the charge back.
The mayor to be there on a Friday night. That's really good too.
And they'll be good on a
That's,
Friday.
yeah, that's customer service all around.
That's the big bucks I meant, you know. Yeah. All right, that takes us to the mayor's report. We have two really important items on our agenda tonight. And I'm going to read the mayoral proclamation regarding the Darien Club's 25th anniversary. And before I read that, I'm going to preface it with just a couple of remarks. This is probably, in my mind, one of the fastest growing organizations we've had in the city of Darien. When I became mayor in 2019, it existed, but I don't remember it being as big as it is. We started our Darien Action Committee meetings on Saturdays. Kathy Street showed up. I became familiar with who the Darien Garden Club was. I had Darien Garden people come to my office to give me books about milkweed and things like that. And so I learned to be educated with regard to the garden club. And of course, over the years, I've seen what they've done at Community Park, decorating for the memorial. I've seen they've shown up at all of our activities, at our tree lighting ceremony. This is a wonderful, wonderful organization, so I'm very proud to read this proclamation tonight. So whereas the Darien Garden Club is a local not-for-profit organization founded in 2001 to encourage interest in gardening, increase knowledge, promote respect for the natural environment, improve the landscape, and cultivate friendships with those who share like pursuits. And whereas the Darien Garden Club is affiliated with the National Garden Clubs Incorporated and the Garden Clubs of Illinois Incorporated, which designated the club as Garden Club of the Year several times. And whereas the Darien Garden Club is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, and whereas since its founding, members of the Darien Garden Club have performed numerous hours of community service, and through active fundraising, were able to make donations to many organizations and horticultural scholarships. And whereas the Darien Garden Club's motto, "A nice place to grow," still encourages its members to continually grow in talent and ability as they participate in various endeavors, including designing, planting, and maintaining VFW's Peace Memorial Garden in the Darien Community Park, St. John Lutheran Church Butterfly Garden, Monarch Garden, Daylily Garden, and Sprouts Learning Gardens by planting flowers and trees in Darien's parks, schools, in their own garden as local senior residences and the Indian Prairie Public Library, and by preparing monthly garden therapy activities for and working with 3 local senior residences, organizing monthly DGC Sprouts activities with young families, installing in them a love of gardening and nature, partnering with the Indian Prairie Public Library to provide garden and nature-related educational events for the community, participating in various community events. And whereas the Darien Garden Club is unique in that all persons who pursue the same goals are welcome to join the club. Now therefore, I, Joseph A. Marquez, Mayor of the City of Darien, do hereby proclaim the day of January 19th, 2026 as Darien Garden Club Day in the city of Darien. And I congratulate the membership on its 25th anniversary, and I encourage the citizens of our community to recognize and hold in high esteem the efforts and leadership set forth by its outstanding members. Furthermore, I encourage the community's continued financial support of the Darien Garden Club's fundraising efforts. Kathy Street, do you want to come forward?
Char is our new president. Yeah, all right. Come on, everybody.
Come on.
That's why I told them all to come.
I will totally get Kelly Henry's out. Yes. Everybody, get in there. We're gonna have to get people behind. I love your swag, guys.
Let's get you all in here. This is the largest
This is
turnout.
only our, 1/3 maybe of our club.
I think you're the fastest growing club in the city. You guys are growing more than the plants.
Growing right now.
Get in front.
Sure.
I'm here, it's fine.
I can get you in the bath, or you wanna go down there? Okay.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay.
I'm gonna have, you don't wanna be in the picture? I'm gonna have you, and then you're gonna scoot right next to Heather.
Posterity sake.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. You got
Oh,
him?
yeah, don't forget him.
Sure.
After David gets in.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna have you just scoot a little bit more.
Don't
Great,
move
great.
after
Oh,
she's
great,
done.
great, great. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I got Kathy's camera, hold on. Awesome.
Thank you.
David's gonna get one more. Official photographer. A club photographer.
My badge. I'm done.
That was quick.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Stay up and talk a little.
I'm glad. It's a nice place to live.
That's what I hear.
I don't have
Says it on your sign and everything.
Very nice. Wow, this is great.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Paul McCartney concerts.
Oh, really?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council for this honor tonight. I'm one of the OG. I've been with this group for 25 years. We started out with 10 of us. We're at 115. And we have a great new president here. And we have a whole. We do.
It's a busy year.
Yes, we have a lot of things planned. The premier thing we're doing is a speaker event called Spring Gardening Inspiration, where we're gonna have 3 speakers, we're gonna have raffles, we're gonna have lunch at Chuck's here in Darien. So if you're interested at all, if you're interested in the environment at all, the speakers are geared towards that, so that would be a good thing to come and see us in action. But you'll see us around town, like Joe said, we do things with youth, we do things with seniors, we have kids who are 2, and members that are in their late 80s, so it's a group for everybody, and I think that, what do you guys say? It's a good place to grow, eh? Learn how to grow, so thank you for this.
Thank you, thank you.
Anything?
No, and I passed out the card for our year, so check that out. We got a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, one other thing that's really big on there is we're gonna have a Blue Star Memorial dedicated at the VFW Peace Memorial, and that is
May 16th.
May 16th, and that will honor the veterans there. And that was our first service project. We've been in there since 2002. So we're really proud of that, and we take a lot of care at that area in that garden. So if you ever walk by there, you know we've been in there. So.
Yes.
Kathy, is David DeCure here tonight?
Pardon me?
David DeCure?
Yes, he is here.
Where's David?
David's our photographer.
He's our official, he's also our VIP this year.
He's gonna be honored at our Darien
Yes.
Citizen of the Year banquet tonight.
He's a great addition.
So thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome, thank you.
We're all out of here now.
So, 115?
It's crazy. They're so active. They do so much stuff. And that little
I never
sprouts.
knew, yeah.
Over at St.
They had
John's.
grown so much in the last 7 years or something like that. Beautiful group. Yeah, the street is outstanding.
That's what I was gonna tell.
Well, Bonnie Cassera is here, and I know, but Bonnie's here because we are gonna find out who our Citizen of the Year is this year. And as many of you, I used to say when I ran this committee, it was like planning a wedding, except you got to pick the bride.
Or groom, yeah.
And Mary's our liaison, and Mary's gonna read the nomination letter. Mary?
Great. Yeah, well, it's my honor to do so. As with many of our past nominees, our nominees' response was, there are so many people who do more. Actually, our nominee asked first if they were a finalist. When we responded, no, you are the committee's pick, there was silence. Our nominee noted that she was Googling Bonnie Cassera to make sure it was legitimate. When the name was associated with the city, the conversation was restarted and our choice responded yes. Therefore, it is with great pleasure to nominate to the City Council the name of Deborah Euler as our choice, the Committee of Citizen of the Year Committee's choice for 2026 Citizen of the Year. The extent of our nominees' activities goes beyond the city, making our nominee not only a shining star in Darien, but surrounding areas. Deborah is not only noted for the remarkable longevity of her volunteer service, but for her selfless, generous, and immediate response to any person or organization in need. Volunteering is not something Deb seeks recognition for. It is simply part of who she is. Deb has a long and consistent history of volunteering both within the city of Darien and in the surrounding communities, always with the focus on improving the well-being and quality of life of others. Some of her volunteer services are 10-plus years with the Girl Scouts as a chaperone and adult volunteer for all activities. 25-plus years with Meals on Wheels, delivering meals to the elderly and homebound residents, very often serving perhaps as the only vital point of human connection with the recipient. She has served as a docent and greeter for over 5 years with the Chicago Architectural Society Open House event. For many years, Deborah has assisted the American Cancer Society providing transportation for seniors to and from medical appointments. As an employee at Mercy Hospital, she was a volunteer for over 15 years that delivered food baskets annually during the Christmas season to seniors. And in conjunction with Syracuse University, represented the university at local high school college nights. Deborah is and continues to be an active member of the Darien Women's Club. For over 10 years, Deb was the organizer and manager of the clothing resale event, a signature community service for many years. Her responsibilities included securing a location, coordinating vendors, scheduling volunteers, and managing finances. Unfortunately, COVID ended this tremendous service to the community. For over 5 years, Deb headed up the Environmental Committee promoting local environmental initiatives and personally still does collect and deliver recyclables materials to local recycling events. A little further outside of Darien, Deb volunteers at the Little Store at Burgess Square. For over 5+ years, she has assisted with shopping and store operations. She is a 14-plus year regular at the Darien Fest, checking IDs and selling tickets in collaboration with the Darien Lions Club. For the last 2 years, Deb just relisted in participating in Darien's Trunk or Treat citywide event, decorating vehicles and distributing candy. We can thank her for volunteering for over 5 years with the IDOT Highway Cleanup Group, keeping Darien's roadways clean. The list showcases not only the remarkable diversity of Deb's volunteer service, but also the extraordinary depth and longevity of her commitment. What is not fully captured in a list of volunteer roles is Deb's readiness to step in whenever help is needed. Her volunteer work is deeply personal to her, giving time to so many as she may be the only outside contact they have. This is a rare gift for making people feel comfortable, valued, and truly seen. This unwavering compassion, combined with decades of dedicated service, has made a profound and lasting difference in the well-being, dignity, and daily lives of countless individuals. Deborah and her husband George have raised their family in Darien. Grown children Rachel, Abigail, and Eric all attended District 61 schools. When Deborah worked for District 61 as a teacher's aide, she was an instrumental part of coordinating virtually the annual school's art fair, a district highlight event that was interrupted by COVID. The family has participated in Darien Park District programs and were heavily involved in the Darien Youth Club sports. Darien is not just where Deb lives, it is where she has poured her heart, her time, and her values into the fabric of the community. Her husband and son regularly assisted with the long, intensive setup and teardown of clothing racks for the Darien Women's Club clothing resale, and Deb often brought her young children with her while delivering Meals on Wheels. In doing so, she modeled for her children the importance of service and instilled these values in the next generation. Through countless acts of kindness, both acknowledged and silent, Deb has helped create a culture of care, generosity, and connection. Her spirit of service has strengthened the community and helped make Darien not just a place to live, but a place where people truly look out for one another. Where and when Deb finds time, she enjoys the Park District Zumba classes, enjoys the company of her book club friends, and enjoys just walking the area with George and her sometimes family. They also love to go to their home in northern Wisconsin, just near the Michigan border. Deb's service is profoundly personal. She gives her time face-to-face, one person at a time, offering presence, kindness, and dignity to those she serves. She willingly rearranges her life to honor the commitments she makes, always giving more than is asked and doing so with a genuine joy. Through her selflessness, consistency, and quiet leadership, Deb has made a lasting difference in countless lives and has strengthened the very fabric of the Darien community. The heart of a volunteer is not measured in size, but by the depth of the commitment to make a difference in the lives of others. Deborah Euler's tireless commitment, efforts, and positive influence makes her an exemplary choice for this prestigious recognition. Indeed, Deborah is and will continue to be one of the many shining stars in Darien, making Darien a nice place to live. By city ordinance, our guidelines for selecting the Citizen of the Year are diversity of activities, length of service, degree of involvement in the community, and impact to the city. With the noted qualifications of Deborah, these requirements have been satisfied. City of Council, I present to you Deborah Euler as our choice for the Darien 2026 Citizen of the Year. Respectfully submitted, 2026 Citizen of the Year Committee.
We need a motion to accept the nomination. Alderman Stompanato, second by Alderman Shower. Any comments anybody would like to add? I know Deb and her husband, I think it's George. George used to be in the Lions Club, from what I remember.
Before my time, maybe.
All right, so the roll?
Stompanato.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Belzak.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
7 ayes.
I have additional stuff too, is that okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So in addition to honoring Deb Euler at the Citizen of the Year dinner dance, we are also, as in the past couple years, honoring outstanding club members and service and organization honorees at that event on March 6th. 2026 service and organization honorees are Darien Youth Club, Mike Berenger; Darien Women's Club, Marian Krapika; Darien Lions Club, Mike Falco; Darien Garden Club, Dave DeCure; Darien Rotary Club, Reverend Eli Voigt; Darien Business Alliance, James Burke. On Tuesday, February 17th at 7:30 p.m. during the City Council meeting, a resolution will be presented to Deborah Euler, and the mayor and the City Council will recognize the service and organization honorees for their service. All participants and club members are encouraged to attend. Additionally, our Citizen of the Year Service and Organization Honorees Dinner Dance is on Friday, March 6th, 2026. Alpine Banquets. We know it's at the corner of Cass and North Frontage Road. The time of the event on March 6th is 6 to 11 p.m. The cost is $52 a person. This includes family style of chicken, roast sirloin of beef, pasta, soup, salad, vegetable, and dessert. Open bar and music and dancing. For reservations, they will begin on Monday, January 26th. That is 1 week from today. Call Diane Novarini at 630-852-8102 at City Hall. Cash, check made out to the City of Darien, or credit card can be used for securing your reservation. The deadline is Thursday, February 26th to make your reservation. Without payment, reservations cannot be confirmed. Check or cash can also be dropped off in the secure box in the city's vestibule, and that vestibule is open 24 hours. City Hall, if you want to come in and make your payment to Diane or someone at the front desk, is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 p.m. If you have a group you would like to sit with, please note that when you make your reservation. So I highly encourage elected officials, community members, service organization members to come out and celebrate these amazing honorees and our 2026 Citizen of the Year by coming to City Hall on February 17th at the City Council meeting and attending the banquet on March 6th at Alpine Banquets.
Thank you, Mary. Lonnie, thank you very much. Great choice. Great choice. Okay, then we move on to our city clerk's report. Joanne?
No report this evening, Mayor.
Our city administrator report. Brian?
No report, Mayor.
Department head information and questions, and I believe Dan has his presentation for us tonight.
Need a second here to get situated. Well, good evening, Mayor, City Council, and our viewing residents at home. And Bonnie, thank you for staying. I see the Garden Club had already left. I thought they were all here for my report this evening. With that said, tonight I would like to present a report regarding the city's water main infrastructure. Several months ago, Alderman Belzak requested of the department to provide an analysis of the city's water main infrastructure in respect to water main breaks, existing conditions, and future planning of replacing water mains. To begin, the report consists of two components. The first one, which is on your slide here this evening, is data from the University of Utah from 2023. That's probably one of the most current reports and very detailed without boring you with the rest of the details, but I'll get into that in a minute. The second part of this is it's data from a department based on 5 years of incidents of water main breaks for each subdivision and roadway. Not included with the report is approximately up to 20 miles of water main that are situated in unincorporated areas. So again, all of that inventory is being compiled, looked at archives, and will be inserted into a future report here for this additional 20 miles. So to begin, water main breaks. How does the city of Darien compare? First of all, again, the data is from the State University of Utah, and this is the Utah Water Research Laboratory. Let's see, hold on. Bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to get to the second slide here, and it's not going on the screen.
The challenges of live TV.
I tell you. All right, here we go. First of all, the study is based on 400,000 miles of water main in the United States and Canada. Municipalities and the people they serve depend on, obviously, this type of network for safe drinking, most importantly. Overall, the assessment of water infrastructure throughout the United States and Canada is not good. There's 260,000 pipe failures annually. 20% of pipes do need to be replaced. In 2009, the American Society of Civil Engineers issued a D- to drinking water infrastructure. In 2021, the ACCE issued a C- to drinking water infrastructure. Utilities across the nation are currently losing 11% of their water to leakage. Pipe life estimates of 75 to 100 years, in contrast with an average replacement of about 200 years. Keep that in mind for the future slide here. So what is this data based on? The data is for almost 400,000 miles of pipe. The survey that the University of Utah conducted was basically 802 survey respondents of almost 400,000 miles of water main, which represents 17% of the estimated total lengths in the United States and Canada. Water main break information comes from about 780 participants who provided data over a 12-month period covering about 363,000 miles of main. Additional information based on the surveys and participants included 690 participants that provided main break data over a 5-year period. Again, that's covering approximately 318,000 miles. Utilities providing data serve 30% of the total population of the United States and Canada, so it kind of gives you an idea of what the overall surveys was based on. So again, there's 260,000 pipe failures annually. The national average is 11 to 27 breaks per 100 miles. What are the city of Darien stats? Currently, we have approximately 75 miles of water main, again, not including the unincorporated areas, of which we had 185 breaks between 2020 and 2025. So that's approximately 37 breaks annually between that period, 20 to 2025. At this 37 breaks, we're a little bit above the national average. Let's go back for a minute. What are water mains made of? There's 4 types of material that make up 90% of the water mains. In the US and Canada, PVC is at 29%. Ductile iron is 27%. Ductile iron is more commonly used today, as well as PVC. Cast iron is at 23%. Asbestos cement, 11%. We do not have any asbestos cement in the system. Remaining materials each represent less than 3%, and there's probably still wooden water mains out there. What does the city of Darien have for its infrastructure? The water mains consist of 34% ductile, 57% cast iron, and 9% PVC. The recommended pipe for Darien and the Midwest area is typically ductile, although there's been more developments with PVC that we are currently looking at. So this chart is basically a pie of what the various water main installations were from the 1950s and 2017. There's no way I could put this up on a board here that you're going to really be able to read without looking at with a microscope. This is just an idea of all the different segments of water main that have been incorporated into the city of Darien since 1950. Again, this is another graph that basically shows how much water main was put in any given area. So back in the 1950s, we basically had 10 miles. The 1980s, those of you that recall, between 79 and probably 82, 84, there was a lot of grants out there that were basically loan-free grants. So a lot of municipalities took on that, and you can see, for example, 1981, the city of Darien basically almost put in 32 miles of water main. So again, just some interesting statistics. In the latest water main, 2017, was only back up here, approximately 3 to 4 miles worth. Again, in 2009, the American Society of Civil Engineers issued that report card of a D- to drinking water infrastructure. In 2017, the grade improved to a D. In 2021, it was raised to a C-. Again, there's not a municipality out there that's above the curve, if you want to say. Utilities across the United States also are losing approximately 11% of their water due to leakage that's known as unaccounted for water. What's unaccounted for water? It's typically high pressure leaks, leaks that are basically go through the seals on a joint. There may be some minor or minute cracks within some of these pipes, although with the systems that we have now in place, those minute cracks will be found sooner than later. What is the city of Darien's unaccounted for water? Our water unaccounted for is approximately 9.6%, or approximately 63 million gallons over this 5-year period. So from an EPA standard, we are within the norm of being below the 11%. Let's go into pipe life. Pipe life estimates are of approximately from 75 to 100 years, in contrast with an average replacement schedule of about 200 years. That doesn't mean that every municipality is waiting that 200 years, but these are just some hard facts and examples. And in this case, the city of Darien water main infrastructure comprises of water mains from the 1950s and 2025. Based on pipe life estimates, and again, based on the previous slide, in the 2017 ASC, water main replacement schedule should be followed as 75 to 100-year guide. So in other words, water mains that are installed in the 60s should adhere to a replacement schedule of 2035 to 2060. And water mains installed in the 90s, for example, should adhere to a replacement schedule of 2060 to 2090. So you can see there's forecasting for the future here. What's the reality? The reality is that utilities are averaging approximately 200 years prior to pipe replacement. Such scenarios would mean that water mains installed in ours in the 60s wouldn't be replaced till year 2160, and water mains installed in the 90s wouldn't be replaced till 2190. I heard that, Mike. Consequences of a broken water main. I think we all know, but I would want to reiterate this because this is something very important. They're major inconveniences. They always happen when that person's in the shower and sure enough, the water goes off. But we're very proactive from notification, so on and so forth. There's economic impacts. There's also local flooding, interruption of water delivery, damage to roads and private property. So water main breaks are the most important way to measure failing underground pipelines. The study from Utah suggests that the failure rate for replacement, again, is 11 to 27 breaks per 100 miles per year. The city's philosophy for consistent main breaks has been to replace a limited amount of water main for more than 5 main breaks within a year, within a city block. And we have replaced water main on a smaller scale of anywhere from 20 to 50 feet, which obviously means, again, prolonged service disruption. You know, we have the equipment, we have the infrastructure materials required always on site. So again, we have everything that we need in order to get back in service. Keep in mind, larger replacements, for those of you that recall, we had projects completed within the last 5 years along Plainfield Road, basically between Clarendon Hills Road and Lyman Avenue. Now, those were basically 12-inch pipes, and those pipes back then, over the course of the years, we had investments of approximately $2 million. City of water main breaks for the period of 2020 to 2025. Total main breaks, again, for us, 73 miles of water main, 185. Annual average over 5 years, 37. Annual breaks per ASC standards is 0.5. So this puts us above that curve that the ASCE recommends. So the number of breaks over 5 years is 64. And then, I'm sorry, let me back up a second. So right here, we've got Hinsbrook. With Hinsbrook, we have number of breaks discounted from Hinsbrook would be 64. The annual average without Hinsbrook, again, would be about 13. And total breaks without Hinsbrook would be 24.20. So that basically states that annual breaks per year per the standards would be 0.33 based on our 75 miles. And that is slightly above the national average. The decimal, again, equates to 0.11 to 0.27 based on the 73 or based on the 100 miles. So I want to make sure we were doing a comparison of 100 to the 73 in a fraction format. The highest occurrences of main breaks are occurring in Hinsbrook. If Hinsbrook again was removed from the equation, the city average would equate to 0.33 per mile.
And why is that?
Why? We're gonna get
Why is
to that.
Hinsbrook so high?
We're gonna get to that.
Okay.
2023 report, highlights of the study. Break rates of all pipe materials remain consistent when compared to other previous studies. So we do have a database that's basically consistent. The current study received a wide distribution of responses across utility sizes on the water mains. It's a little history. In the past 5 years, total miles of asbestos cement and cast iron pipes have been reduced drastically most likely being replaced with materials such as ductile iron and PVC. Whole different animal. Ductile iron basically started to come in the 80s, along with plastic. The plastic is basically used in the geographical areas to the south. The Midwest area has always been accustomed to using ductile iron. PVC is something that the Midwest is starting to break into for the various reasons. Again, the replacement of asbestos cement and cast pipe has obviously gone to a different predominant pipe materials now. Again, ductile and plastic. Pipe performance is impacted by soil corrosivity. Again, Eric, that's to your point there, why there's water main breaks more so in Hinsbrook than anywhere else. There's that significant correlation between water main breaks, pipe materials, the diameter, as well as the soil conditions. We have not taken soil borings, if you want to say. That's something I plan on doing in the future, doing some soil borings here to basically tell us how corrosive is this soil. How does soil get corrosive? Some of it's natural elements. The other ones are, there's bleed off, what they call from cathodic protection or lack of cathodic protection from gas mains, for example. So it's the electrolysis that has the opportunity to eat at the water main, especially on cast iron, which Hinsbrook is basically comprised of. Whether it's gas and or electric lines also have that ability to cause that corrosiveness in the soil. Our chart here, and I'm not going to get into this 100%, but we have on file, let me see if I can get to this.
Is Hinsbrook the oldest section in Darien?
Yes. Well, Hinsbrook and Brookhaven.
Marion Hills.
I'd say Marion Hills over.
Yeah, Marion Hills, a lot of it wasn't put in till the late 70s, early 80s, because some of these, they didn't have the water mains in there, whereas certain subdivisions that were built under unincorporated had the opportunity to have well water at the time. Our water tower over here at Plainfield Road, for example, was privately owned, along with certain infrastructure that was put in over the years, but I'm going to get into that in a second
Real
as
quick,
well.
so you talk about the soil. How about like the trees and the roots? Does that have any impact at all? No?
Trees have no impact at all.
Impact?
Yeah. I'd like to get this, well, it's not gonna come, let me come to it at the end. We have a catalog, it's basically along the philosophy of our road catalog. It basically has every street, every subdivision, the number of breaks, and it's on a separate Excel, so I'll get to that at the end of the report here. Bottom line is, where do we go from here? First thing that we need to do, or further look into, is an enhancement of the city's water asset management plan. This provides a document of inventory, assess, maintain, replace, and fund the water infrastructure over time. Currently, we do all that. The magnitude is approximately $200,000 for, let's call it a water main infrastructure replacement. Our maintenance programs are top-notch. We have monitoring controls in place. Another thing with the water asset management plan, the EPA is going to be mandating, I believe it's next year, where every municipality needs to come back to the EPA with this asset management plan. So basically that means all your infrastructure, what you're going to do with it, how you're going to replace it, how you're going to potentially fund it, and what is the program over the next 3 to 5 years. Again, a lot of this information is already on file, and we have it all collaborated. Also consists of condition assessments. We evaluate our assets currently, age versus expected useful life, the break history, inspection results, customer complaints or leaks. Our customer complaints in regards to water pressure, for example, are none. So our biggest complaints are when we do have a water main break, what it does, or when's it gonna get repaired, or the restoration that comes along with it. The condition ratings that we're to evaluate are 3 of them: good, fair, poor, or critical. I should say 4, excuse me. Level of service, we all know that water pressure standards is not an issue. Fire flow requirements are not an issue. Water quality compliance is not an issue. And the maximum acceptable outages of breaks is the real question. Again, as we go from here again, risk assessment, we prioritize the risks and the likelihood times the consequence of failure. So again, I won't go into all these again, but basically it includes service outages, property damage, traffic disruption, public health risk, and repair costs. The life cycle management plans, how do you manage these assets over time? Preventive maintenance, repair versus replace decisions, rehabilitation. Now this is an interesting one because the rehabilitation, there's what they call trenchless lining, which again is something where basically the water main is live and you're putting a coating in there. It's got its pros and cons, in my opinion. I don't see that being susceptible on smaller mains. Larger mains, potentially. There's a capital improvement plan, the forecasting replacement and upgrade costs. There's a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year planning horizons. What's the cost per mile of water main? So the annual replacement targets based on today's dollars is approximately $900,000 or $1 million per mile. Again, we have 73 miles. So if we look at certain formulas based on when do you replace the water main, it's very expensive. So again, $1 million basically per mile. How do we plan for that? Well, user rates, impact fees, grants, or loans. Just to go over some accomplishments, basically since 2005, we removed an existing, for those of you who remember again, we removed an existing 200-gallon multi-legged water tower, and it's the one on Plainfield Road. We replaced it with a 1.5 million gallon tank and a unique design with some bragging rights that we won the Tank of the Year nationally. Security enhancements with fencing, altitude valving. Well, that's another internal project that we did, was to control the level of water at 3 different water towers. We used to have concerns where you fill this tank, tank B would overflow. If tank B was using too much water, and then tank C would overflow. So with these altitude valves, basically balances the system to work in harmony, and there's no more overflowing. Literally, water would be spewing out of what's referred to as the drain pipe, the overflow pipe, and I'm talking, probably close to 500 gallons a minute. Tank painting, William and Lamont Road, I think was done approximately 7 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. 2 booster pumps. We installed booster pumps at the 75th Street station, which is located right by Home Depot. Again, that helped, again, with pressures that were a concern probably about 15 years ago. Chlorination, we went from gas to liquid. That's a major changeover. For those of you that don't know, chlorine is a very dangerous, toxic type of chemical that basically, if it gets airborne and you're not exposed with or you don't have the proper PPE, you basically drown from the inside out. You got chlorine analyzer upgrades. Those basically tell us what the constant residual is through several points throughout town, which provides with the optimal chlorine levels within the water. SCADA system updates. We've done a lot of A lot of SCADA system updates and telemetry with advanced operator notifications. What does that basically mean? Basically, it means you have a chlorine leak, you have not enough chlorine going into the water, pump that fails, something's not communicating with the tank. All of that is referred to as SCADA and telemetry controls, to which there's the program that we have in place basically calls us up via telephone, says alarm, alarm. So again, it's something that we're very proactive with. And obviously, I think the city sees that. We continue to monitor pump motor and pump overhauls with early motor pump maintenance. One interesting thing, we have these new sensor, we're gonna be introducing some more at budget time, it's a company called Grundfik. And basically what they do is they have these monitors that you put on the pumps and the motors. And what they'll do is they'll signal imbalances that are above a curve. And that basically means bearings could be failing, the electric for whatever reason may not be providing enough amperage. So it's an early alarm to tell us, hey, shut this motor off and get it fixed or replaced. We do have a standby motor in these types of situations. Again, that's some of the behind the scenes that no one really sees. One thing I was referring to earlier is about cracks. We have that citywide leak monitoring devices for early detection of water main breaks. What a great asset. That's all I can say. We're able to pick up leaks. For example, if a resident is out of town for an extended period of time, we've been able to pick up leaks in that house due to frost, go over there, try to knock on the door, try to make contact, can't make contact. We shut off the water, give them a notice, and leave a note on the door, or call the fire department, depends how drastic it is. In which case, we're able to save property values of inside the home, property assets. GIS water atlas planning, that's still ongoing. That's something we've been really working over the last couple of years. Basically, that means compiling all the water main atlases through plans, as-built plans, and basically we're putting them on a GIS that tells us what size water main is here, where does it go, fire hydrant, so on and so forth. So with that said, questions, comments, and I can refer back to that spreadsheet if anybody would like me to do that.
Jan, when we put in the stoplight at Bailey and Plainfield Road, we did the water main there.
Correct, that was a segment of it, yes.
It was a $500,000. How long was that pipeline? Was it a half a mile?
Not even, basically went from the city hall here up to, just short of, not Leonard Drive, Lester Lane.
Okay.
So, but there was a combination that we did from Lester up to the city hall here. There was some additional pipe that was put in from almost the water tower on Plainfield Road up to Darien Point there. That ended up getting replaced as well. Little parts of Cass with that segment, and then from 75th and Plainfield almost up to Clarendon Hills Road, we did a major replacement years ago. Again, that was a water main that was just constantly failing. So it was meeting that philosophy of more than, call it close to 5 water main breaks a year. Is that a science to 5? No, it doesn't seem to work out. I've used that for the last probably 30, 35 years. So again, while there might not be a science to it, do we need to start replacing water main? The answer, in my opinion, is no. Do we need to currently monitor it? Hinsbrook is probably the one we need to monitor a little more. So Hinsbrook, we're probably gonna look at doing some soil samples. Is the ground corrosive there? The water main is cast iron. Yes, we know that. It's not the best quality by no means. There's other cast iron throughout town that we don't have problems with. So it's a balancing act at best. And whereas now, if we find that we have such high soil corrosivity, we would then look at the road program and say, okay, this road's getting paved in 2030, whatever. We should look at replacing that water main for that segment on that block, so we can basically capture 2 things at once and have an economy of scale, doing the water main and the roadway all at the same time, because it is a mess. And again, all the water main in the future would end up going in the roadways, because if we go into parkways, keep in mind, we have trees. And we're not gonna be spending monies to bore 12-inch water main. It'd be very costly, number one. And I'm using 12-inch, it could be 6-inch, 8-inch, regardless. The cost to bore water main of that magnitude on a block under trees is pretty significant.
What is the difference between ductile iron and cast iron? And is ductile better to the extent the ground is corrosive?
Yeah, part of the answer is yes. Ductile iron is a lot more, has more flexibility than cast iron is probably the best way to put it. Ductile iron, as years ago, when they first started introducing ductile iron, you get breaks on ductile iron, but when you get breaks on ductile iron, basically there's a baseball hole in the water main. And that basically was happening from the manufacturer when they were basically spinning the pipe, that during breaks or an extended period of time, they would shut down part of the machine, and basically the spinning effect got cold and hot, so basically weakening some of the main in some points. Obviously, they don't do that anymore. Again, this is going back to the early 80s, if not late 70s. So they come a long way. PVC, the theory on PVC here for the Midwest was there was always a problem with locating it. Now, by today's means, they have what they call locating wire. So basically, it's a wire that's wrapped around the pipe or concealed with the pipe, so you have that ability to locate it. So that's no longer an issue. Plastic pipe in earlier stages of it, when it broke, it cracked. It was a lateral crack. So when you have lateral cracks versus circumference cracks, you have to basically cut out that main because there's not enough water main clamps to be able to clamp it and basically conceal that leak. So plastic was always, in this area, became a big no-no because due to the potential maintenance and the potential water main breaks, that it was catastrophic. That philosophy has changed, especially in the Midwest now, in comparison to the South. You go down Florida, for example, you'll see water mains that are sticking out of the ground. And they use plastic. With the plastic, there was this, with services, and I won't get into the services part because it's some more technical stuff. And I think the other problem with, or concern with the plastic water main was the PVC. It was all the hype and hysteria of, we're gonna be drinking the plastic contaminants that are generated from the pipe within the water. That's not the case. I mean, you got some pros and cons, and the majority of it is there's no cause and effect with plastic pipe on these types, for that cause or that concern of VOCs.
In Chicago, we have a high one time of 106 degrees and a low of 25 below. Does that make PVC brittle or not really?
Doesn't really affect the PVC. What it affects is the cast iron more so than any other pipe. Okay. The cast iron is more susceptible to temperature changes than, like I said, any other pipe. For example, right now, the water in the actual water towers is probably about 40 degrees, maybe a little more. But we basically take that water and we're done, we're basically dropping it 30 feet or whatever. Otherwise, the tanks do have an opportunity to freeze, and if they freeze, the tanks will basically blow up or rupture, if you want to say it. So with that said, we're always doing that change, but what's the water coming in from Lake Michigan back into, so the water basically starts out at what they refer to as cribs. There's these stations out at Lake Michigan, and that water is drawn in, taken to the Jardine water plant. From the Jardine water plant, it basically travels 72-inch water mains or various sizes from there to, help me out, Brian, where's that? Not Bensonville, Elmhurst, thank you. So from Elmhurst then, it's basically put underground in their storage tanks. From their storage tanks, it gets distributed via DuPage Water Commission mains and branches off to all the different municipalities within the area. So that water, starting at Lake Michigan, today it may be 30 degrees. By tomorrow, by the time it comes out here, it might be 50 degrees, 40 degrees. So you do get that fluctuation in temperatures, and that's what causes majority of the water main breaks.
You said earlier, when, like your first couple of slides, that Darien is higher on the curve than we are on the national level.
Yes.
Is that a fair assessment? Because you do, like we said, to Alderman Shower's point, you got 106 degrees, you got 25 degrees here in the Midwest. You just talked about Florida being down where you got water mains that are, you can actually see them. Is that fair, or do they take into account the different materials that are placed throughout the country? So you know what I'm saying. So you can't really say, well, we're higher than everybody. Well, we got environmental stuff.
Who are we compared to?
Yeah, who are we comparing to? What
Right.
That's not really a fair assessment.
Well, from that perspective, there's different pipes. Okay, different pipes. If I was to go and classify each one, it's still somewhat of a national average, whether it's ductile, whether it's cast iron, whether it's plastic. So you got to remember that majority of these surveyed had cast iron.
Didn't come from me.
Had cast iron and or this asbestos type of pipe. So again, we do not have any asbestos type of pipe by no means. Does that make sense, Joe?
So Dan, I'm sorry, Joe. So Dan, when you said, that one slide you had about the unaccounted for water.
Right.
Was it 63 million or 36 million gallons,
Correct.
whatever it was? I mean, I can't wait to see the spreadsheet, but that was for how many years? 5 years? I thought you said?
That was, yes.
So is it?
Annually, it was annually, but that was based on the 5 years. So it's an average of 9.6%. I believe it's 9.6.
So per year, just on that number, are we getting worse? Are we staying about the same? Are we getting better? I mean, to me, that's kind of like a good gauge to know how we're doing.
We're getting better. We got better. We've had rates unaccounted for flow up to 14%. And that 14% was probably in the, if I was to guess, 2000, probably 2010, as late as 2010, 2015.
So we are tracking that per year.
Oh, yeah, that's a requirement. It's a reporting
that number,
requirement.
yeah. Okay.
What they refer to as LMO, as part of the Illinois Natural Resources to the state, that everyone has to report to that.
Did that bond issuance a few years ago to replace all the meters, if you recall.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That helped that.
That helped
To
it.
know where you're losing it. Yeah.
Meters run slow, eventually as they get old, so that's unaccounted for, Dan, as part of the formula.
Correct.
If you have a meter that's reading slow, that's also part of the unaccounted for. Yeah.
Dan, we have 73 miles. If you were to give a number right now that's critical, what would it be in Darien? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, putting me on the spot, and it's fine. I guess one thing that I would have to take a look at is I'd really have to take a look at the road program that we have scheduled for the next, I'll call it 2 to 3 years. Take a look again at the number of breaks within a single roadway. And then go back and take that information and assign a number to it, because if we're gonna do it, it's gotta be quadrants. Is that quadrant a block? Is that quadrant 2 blocks? Or is that quadrant half a mile? So it's a very difficult
That's fine.
question. I mean, I could tell you it's $1 million per mile. I mean, yeah.
Wow, yeah.
It's probably even more than that. I mean, we did what, 8 years ago for Plainfield? That was a $500,000, and it wasn't even close to a half a mile.
Correct.
So-
Then we had the one in front of basically McDonald's around up there. I think that was 1.1, 1.2, if I recall correctly.
Dan, you mentioned the system in unincorporated. So there's you're talking about water mains that really are Dariens that we might be serving unincorporated residents.
Right.
Intuitively, or not by records, but how is that system compared? Do you have any idea yet, or you got to wait till you get the data?
Well, I think I could fairly say that the amount of water main breaks that we've had in the unincorporated areas are at least, they're not as significant as what we have here. So if I was to take the entire system and base it on 100 miles, would I feel confident that we will be coming into that accepted range? Probably, yes. But not to overemphasize or, again, that inventory is something what's been referred to as the SURF system that we took over years ago through agreements, IGAs. And, again, the city of Darien cannot, nor any other municipality, can hold water as a hostage. So in other words, if there's an unincorporated area and a municipality has the opportunity to serve it, that they can't say no to that subdivision or hold them hostage, if you want to say, by making them annex. So that's something that's been challenged in the courts years ago now. So we do have those situations, and, they're not Red Darien residents, they're unincorporated, but we do serve them water.
And Dan, I've had obviously the benefit of working with you here a long time, and you talked about many of the improvements that have happened, and you're talking about it, but, I got a chance to see those systematically planned. You have to do this before you do this, and there was so much that you did and the water department did, the city funded, that was important to put up there, so residents do know how we've been investing in the system. But one thing, if you can give just a minute commercial, the SURF project. You kind of, you talked about it real quick. That was one of the biggest projects I think the city undertook, both to work with the county and service more residents, have an impact on rates. So maybe you could let everybody know,
Sure.
because not everybody was here for that project.
Right. What that basically is, it was an agreement with DuPage, the county of DuPage, and the county of DuPage was basically given water through wells. Okay, so those of you that are familiar with well water, it's not the best tasting water. It causes a lot of discoloration unless you have elaborate systems that allow you to filter, whether it's osmosis, softening methodologies. The actual plant that they have is located on Nantucket, just north of South Frontage Road there. That's an underground, see all that open area? That's an underground storage tank. So with that, we had the ability basically through Bailey Road, I believe it was at Bailey, we set up a metering station. So basically what that meant was that the certain water that flowed through these mains was now gonna flow from the city of Darien and supply, and I forgot the total number of residents, but it was a good quadrant that we basically, through an agreement, made it work. We did water modeling studies, so there's a meter that's in place on Bailey Road, and we monitor that. That water, obviously, DuPage County pays us back on every 2 months. There's a full detailed report on accounted for water flow too. And fortunately, unfortunately, that system is really mixed because it also involves some of our Darien residents, just the way everything was built, incorporated, unincorporated. The system that we look at today is really a unique system, centralized, works very well.
Dan, wasn't that primarily the Carriage Greens area?
That was a different one. That's, yes, that's another segment that we took over that DuPage County was feeding.
DuPage County gave us, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about over there, about looping it.
Correct. Yeah, the looping did not, at the time, and I'm probably still in the same philosophy, that the looping, while it will fortify the system, why are we fortifying it, number one?
So Hinsbrook is about 60 or 65 years old roughly. Are we seeing an increase in the number what I'd like to know is how many we've had in the last 10 years and how many we had each year. Is it going to 10 this year, 11 next, 12, 30? Is there a scale where it's showing that it's going up? And I know we spent a lot of money on detecting leaks. Is there any way of is there, and I think you've kind of talked about it, but the problem is preventing the leaks. And besides replacing, is there anything that can be done to shore up that area of town?
I guess by starting the soil borings, first of all, taking a look again at the road program, maintenance schedule, and kind of collaborating the two together and see what the concerns are, you know, whether it's X Street, Y Street, you know, and I think we've been pretty good with it. Whereas, you know, if we get a total number of breaks, then we're gonna bring it to somebody's attention, or if it's that 20 to 50 feet, then we're gonna go ahead and remove and replace it. And many times it's just the residents that are affected, we'll give them notifications and all that. Why? Because it's something that we can do, we have it in-house, we have the ability and the capability. But I'm trying to see, Tom.
So are we gonna get the spreadsheet, Dan?
Yeah, and it's pretty detailed. I could do, whoever wants it, I can be more than
Yeah,
happy to
I'd love to
share
see
it. And I'm looking
So what's
for-
the average cost for us to repair a break? I mean, there's gotta be, you know, restoration and replacing all that work, you know.
Right?
Anywhere
Parkway, I
from,
mean,
yeah, anywhere from $2,000 to $7,000, depends on
right,
where
but
was it, how much much of the road-
5,000 wouldn't be too far off, I mean, in the middle.
No.
Yeah.
No, you know, sometimes we'll get a simple service leak, you know, in and out. So.
I mean, so for you, for you, Tom, I mean, 64 breaks times $5,000, I mean, it adds up pretty quick.
And also,
Still not $1 million.
No, I understand it, but it's still,
I know, but you gotta wait,
I understand, but it's still,
it also
it's money.
depends on what time of the day or the week
Sure.
because if you got a water main break at say 9 o'clock in the morning and these guys are out there and you get it done in say 8 hours, you're paying them 8 hours. But if that water main break hits like on a holiday at 11 o'clock at night, now you're paying the overtime scale to go with it.
And there's been water main breaks where, we've been on them for 12 hours.
Right.
You know, the most recent one was up on 75th Street. What started out to be a leak here, even with the, I'll call it pinpointing it, it basically was off by about 5 feet. Well, that 5 feet from an area that's grass to a roadway now just made it more complex because now we need to break out the pavement and the cement. You know, pavement consists of asphalt and cement, typically on county roadways. So any roadway is not a struggle, but again, it's more time because you're moving from a grassy turf area, and you're moving into an area that needs more attention and certain backfill.
Okay.
Now I'm trying to see if, I know what's on here, it is. So if I was to look at Hinsbrook. They're all about 3-year average is 20 per year, 4-year average 17, 1-year average 2-year average 6. So while we've got different averages, the question becomes, is it going up per year? Let me see where he's got this.
Well, that just appears to be 2020 and 2021.
Yeah. I gotta move it over here. Tom, not to waste the council's time, I can
Yeah.
answer that more in detail, because the spreadsheet, it's a large spreadsheet, so I can't.
I mean, in the individual who started me down this path lives on Tamarack, and just looking at that, it seemed like there was an overwhelming number for Tamarack over the last, like 7 in the last 3 years, which seems, it's not a long street either.
No, it's,
And so is there something, in the pipe? Is there something that when they, is that an area where you go, wow, we got so many more than we should have? in that stretch, is that something where we need to look at the entire?
And that's a good example. Does that mean, let's see, I'm coming up with 4, 5, 6. For Tamarack itself, I've got 2 that were in 2020. I got 1 in 2021. 2022, that doesn't count. Yeah, actually, there's only been 2. We've had some fire hydrants and other types of leak.
Oh, I see, these are, okay.
Yeah, the fire hydrant leaks are not included in this. Fire hydrants are just part of maintenance. They go on, it's like a valve at home. Works today, turn it off, turn it back on, and won't shut off. So, you know, a lot of fire hydrants are back from the 50s as well, in which case we do have a maintenance program on the fire hydrants. Plus, we have, we do flushing every year. And as soon as a fire hydrant is identified that it's not working, it's basically capped and bagged and repaired within 24 hours. That's something critical. Tom, I will share that. I'll send everybody a copy out. This way you can go and take a look at your wards. It's almost the same as the road maintenance program, and it all dovetails, and, we're gonna look into it further. At this point, as the director for the city, I do not see a sense of urgency or alarm, by no means.
Okay, go.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
We move on to our treasurer's report. Mike?
This evening, I'm requesting council's approval of warrant number 252617, the amount of $204,248.88 from the listed funds, payroll for the period ended December 25th, the amount of $348,385.28. Total be approved, $552,634.16.
Motion to approve. Alderman Bolzak, seconded by Alderman Kenny. Questions or comments? None, roll.
Belzak.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Legansky.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Warrant's been approved. The next one, Michael?
Requesting council's approval of warrant number 252618 in the amount of $1,346,937.81 from the listed funds, payroll for the period ended January the 8th, in the amount of $420,185.15. Total be approved, $1,767,122.96.
Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, seconded by Alderman Stompanato. Questions or comments? None, roll.
Shower. Stompanato.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
Legansky. Kenny.
Aye.
Gustafson. Belzak.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Warrant's been approved. The monthly report.
Okay, revenue and expenditure report for the 8 months ended December 31st, 2025. General fund year-to-date revenue $14,501,302. Expenses of $11,440,199. Current balance $7,161,088. Water and water depreciation fund year-to-date revenue $5,872,263. Expenses $5,686,498. Current balance $3,395,833. Motor fuel tax fund year-to-date revenue $613,923. Expenses $498,682. Current balance $715,197. And capital improvement fund year-to-date revenue $710,291. Expenses of $2,854,751. Current balance $21,325,471.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions on the monthly report for Mike? If not, we'll move on to standing committee reports. Do the chairman have any reports? Alderman Bolzak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next Municipal Services Committee meeting will be a week from today, Monday, January the 26th at 6 p.m. in council chambers.
Thank you. Alderman Kenny.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The police committee meeting that was scheduled for this evening was canceled due to lack of agenda items. Our next meeting will take place Monday, February 16th, 6 p.m. across the parking lot in the police training room.
Alderman Bill.
The next Admin Finance Committee meeting will take place on Monday, February 2nd at 6 p.m. in the meeting room upstairs in City Hall. And then we will be starting our committee of a whole admin finance in preparation and review of the 2026-2027 budget. The draft budget will be distributed to the council on February 11th, with our first committee of the whole happening on Wednesday, February 18th. And then the following Wednesday, the 25th, if more time is needed, we will meet and discuss during the city council meeting on March 2nd. And then if we need another meeting, it'll happen that next Wednesday. But hoping to make it all happen in 2 meetings. Hoping everyone can take the time to go through it, do their homework, ask questions ahead of time, meet with people if needed, so that we can have a very productive meeting. And all these meetings start at 6:30 PM in council chambers.
The city council, along with the Darien Park District Commission, met last Monday for a 6-month kind of touch base, had a productive meeting, and those minutes will be available for one of our February meetings.
Thank you. Those, I hear from my wife on those meetings, and she said they really are excellent
productive.
meetings, very productive.
Mayor, I'm sorry, Joe, did you mention the 16th? I'm sorry if I misheard you, for your next committee meeting?
I think 16th is Monday, is it?
Yeah, that's the President's Day, so we are closed that day, and and we'll have the council meeting that Tuesday and the budget meeting following, so you'll probably follow that.
17th.
Calendar.
17th, okay. Our meetings typically starts at 6. That would be at 6:30, and, a lot of times we're done by then, so yeah, it won't be a problem.
Yeah,
Well, wouldn't your police meeting be before the city council meeting?
that's what I'm saying.
That would be on Tuesday.
Right,
Okay.
right, at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought you had said the day before, that's
I
all.
did, well, because I wasn't thinking presidents.
Yeah.
I was thinking just, Monday.
Dan, did you have something?
Yes, Mayor, just to echo off of Alderman Belzak's meeting from Monday on the Public Works Committee or Municipal Services Committee, we have one topic that's going to be continued again in respect to commercial parking of vehicles. So again, we had a rather well turnout, a heavy turnout, if you want to say, I believe was a month ago, 2 months ago, something. 2 months ago. So again, for all the residents that want to hear things on the commercial vehicles and the new updated changes coming, please come 6 o'clock here at the municipal city of Darien.
That's the 26th?
Yes.
I know it's about a month off, but the Darien Action Committee is scheduled to meet on Saturday, February 28th from 9 o'clock to about 11, and it'll be here in the chamber. That's a month off. All right. Questions and comments, agenda related? I think I could skip this. There's nobody here to bring up questions or comments. Old business, there being none, we move to the consent agenda. 2 items. First item, consideration of motion to purchase ammunition from Keesler's Police Supply in the amount of $18,876.48. Item B, consideration of motion to approve an ordinance authorizing the sale of personal property owned by the city of Darien, primarily the police department. Motion to approve, Alderman Belzak, second by Alderman Stompanato, and the roll.
Belzak.
Aye.
Stompanato.
Aye.
Kenny.
Aye.
Shower.
Aye.
Gustafson.
Aye.
Lukanski.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye.
7 ayes.
The consent agenda has been approved. There be no new business being moved to questions and comments and announcements of a general nature. I just wanted to add, as Alderwoman Sullivan mentioned, we have the Citizen of the Year banquet coming up on March 6th. It's a Friday evening. It's a wonderful event. So I would advise people to get their tickets. They can go online, they can pay online for those tickets. We have on February 6th, just a month before that, we have our Dancing with the Chamber of Stars at the Ashton Place. That's coming up. Tickets are available for that as well. The money raised for that will go to the Cancer Smashers organization. So we have a lot of events coming up. We're going to be quite busy for a while. It's kind of a push. 1 month you're buying tickets for one, next month you're buying tickets for the other, but they're both great activities. So I would urge people to purchase those tickets as soon as they can. Anyone else have anything to add? If not, I need a motion to adjourn. Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Kennedy. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 8:59.